You mentioned a fresh perspective on the case for gold, highlighting an impending confrontation within it. Referring to the analogy of tectonic plates, I envision a symbolic representation, perhaps a twig, signifying the fragility of people's confidence within this context. During the keynote presentation at the Sprott Natural Resource Symposium, you began by emphasizing the significance of confidence. Could you elaborate on why this aspect holds such paramount importance in your presentation?
Absolutely. The essence of my presentation focused on gold as the once-in-future money. Historically, gold served as a widely accepted form of currency, yet today, the prevailing belief is that it's merely a commodity, not money. Personally, I view it differently. I consider gold as money and analyze it through that lens. However, this perspective isn't commonly shared. The general consensus disregards gold's monetary attributes and perceives it solely as a commodity. Gold had its prominence as money in the past, but presently, it's not widely acknowledged as money except by a minority, including myself. Yet, I firmly believe it will regain its status as money in the future. The question then becomes, what will drive this shift in perception? To lay the groundwork, I started by questioning the fundamental definition of money. Through various illustrations encompassing feathers, clamshells, euros, gold, silver, beads, digital currencies, credit cards, and Bitcoin, I aim to highlight that throughout history, these diverse forms have all served as money at different times and in specific societies. Criticisms often surface, asserting that certain currencies, like gold, paper dollars, or Bitcoin, lack tangible backing. However, I argue that the common thread among all forms of money is their reliance on one crucial factor: confidence. The crux lies in the confidence shared between individuals in considering something as money. If two parties mutually trust an item's value and its exchangeability for goods and services, it inherently becomes money. This confidence, however, rests upon trust and is exceedingly fragile. Losing this confidence can happen swiftly and is incredibly challenging to restore. Money, as a construct, is far more fragile than commonly perceived because its foundation is rooted in the psychological aspect of confidence, rather than the sheer quantity in circulation. My concern lies in central bankers' disregard for this fragility. Their assumptions about unlimited money printing might lead to crossing an invisible confidence threshold, resulting in a rapid loss of trust and subsequent inflation. In essence, the real essence of any form of money isn't solely tied to economic concepts like printing quantity, but hinges greatly on people's confidence in it. Ignoring this critical aspect poses a significant risk, potentially leading to unforeseen economic consequences in the future.
Certainly. Jim, during your presentation, there was a slide that caught the attention of the entire packed audience, the one where you briefly touched upon the war on cash. However, what piqued interest was your mention of an impending war on gold in the future. Could you elaborate on this aspect as well? It seems like an intriguing and significant perspective that the audience would benefit from understanding further.
Sure. A lot of people have heard the expression war on cash. Governments don't like cash. It's hard for them to trace. And they associate cash with drug dealers, terrorists, and tax evaders. Right. But there are lots of legitimate reasons to have cash. And people who have money in the bank think they can get cash whenever they want. And I make the point that you really can't. You may think you can, but go down to a bank and ask them to give you $20,000 in cash. Let's say you've got $50,000 in your bank account, and you say, "I'd like some cash. Please give me $20,000. They might ask you to come back 3 days later. They might not have that much cash. They'll definitely ask the branch manager to come over because the teller won't be able to handle the transaction for $10,000 or more. They will file a report with the government, the currency transaction report. But even for amounts significantly less than $10,000, if they don't think you've got some cash business like, I don't know, maybe a pizza parlor or something like that, they might file a suspicious activity report. My point is, you won't be treated like an honest American or an honest Canadian or a citizen of the world. You'll be treated like a criminal. They'll do everything possible to discourage you, and you'll find that you actually can't get the cash you think you have. Plus, there are countries in the world. Sweden, I think, is the leading edge that are going to all digital money. They want to get rid of money, meaning paper money or coins. And coins aren't valuable because they're not made of silver. They're made of zinc or copper alloys and so forth. They want to get rid of all paper and coin type money and go to completely digital money. So you have your debit card and your credit card and your wire transfers and your online transfers and all that, but no actual paper or coin type money. Even for the countries or monetary groups that still have paper money, they're reducing it. For example, the Eurozone, the 19 countries that make up the euro, just got rid of the 500 euro note. Until recently, you could get a 500 euro note. There's some still in circulation, but they're going to stop making them. So the next biggest denomination will be the 200 euro note. The United States used to have a $500 bill until the late 60s. Then they got rid of that. Now they have a $100 bill. But the $100 bill of the late 60s, when it was the largest denomination, is only worth 20 cents today in terms of 1960s purchasing power. Even that is kind of going away, not in terms of zeros, but in terms of what it's actually worth. So there's a full-scale war on cash. The point I'm making is that people say, "How's it going?" I said, "Well, it's over. The government won't think. You may think you can get cash, but you can't. But you can get gold. There's nothing stopping." I was in London recently. I went to a place called Sharps Pixley. It's a gold bullion dealer right on the corner of Jermyn Street in St. the kind of fanciest shopping district in London, one of the most attractive retail locations in the world, and you can walk in right off the street. It looks like a bank, but it's not a bank, except maybe it is a gold bank. Walk out to the teller, say, "I'd like to buy 1 kilo of gold." They'll say, "Fine. That's $45,000 and pay with a credit card." Or, "I want to buy a couple of gold coins." And they'll say, "Fine." They won't say dollars. Obviously, they'll say pounds, a couple of £1,000, etc. They'll give you the gold there. If you want to store it, you can store it. They have safe non-bank storage. If you want to walk out the door with it, that's okay too. It's kind of like a knight in the 19th century in London. You could walk up to a normal bank and give them paper money and they would give you gold and you could walk out with it. So Sharps Pixley has reinvented that kind of bank of gold concept. There are very few barriers to owning gold. Sprott has a very good gold fund. There are other gold funds of that type around the world. You can store it yourself. You can get non-bank storage. Don't put it in a bank. I don't recommend that. But non-bank storage is fine. So right now you can get gold. Not at a fixed price. It's not a gold standard, but at the market price. I think the governments haven't really caught on. They've spent so many decades disparaging gold, making fun of gold, ridiculing gold holders, and sort of running gold off the road that I don't think governments are alert to the fact that gold is money. And if you make cash go away, you're actually going to elevate the value of gold to a lot of people. And so I expect that when they suddenly wake up one day and say, "Wait a second, all these people we tried to chase out of paper money, they're going to gold." There'll be a war on gold. And my advice to people interested in gold is get it now while you still can. Are you waiting for